Welcome to the Enterprise Excellence Podcast, where our purpose is to help create a better future. Learn from our world's experts how to improve your organisation sustainably. Learn how to achieve and sustain an excellence journey for yourself, others, and the planet.
And I'm your host, Brad Jevons, coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. We are proudly brought to you in association with SA Partners, a world-leading business transformation consultancy. SA Partners are a truly purposeful company focused on helping organisations achieve sustainable improvement for themselves, others, and the planet. Welcome to episode 71 of the Enterprise Excellence Podcast. It is such a pleasure to have Dr. Jeff Sutherland back on the show with us today to conclude our discussion on how to create an agile organisation using Scrum at Scale. If you haven't already, go back to episode 70 to hear the first part of this show with Dr. Jeff Sutherland. Let's get into the episode. Jeff, what would be the tip you'd give based on Scrum at Scale and what we're talking about with organizations? Is there a 2-minute tip that you'd give to listeners to say, look, this is a place to start and start moving down this path?
Yeah. Well, the big things in Scrum at Scale that make all the difference is we have an enterprise action team, which is the management that is running a Scrum team. It's meeting every 15 minutes every day. Its job is to fix anything that's broken in the organization the same day or within a couple of days. That makes all the difference. We started the discussion around that. That's where you see things breaking down. And then on the prioritization side, we have this Meta Scrum. You say people are worrying, well, what is this Meta Scrum? Well, the Meta Scrum is just the management and the product owners getting together and agreeing on implementing the product backlog that they can jointly agree on, and doing it for the enterprise as a whole. And so the tip I would give is get those pieces of Scrum at Scale running. It will solve most of your problems. If you go down to the team level, they have all these issues. Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, we need a new server. It's been broken for weeks. If they had an executive action team, it would have been fixed like the first day, right? So they sit around just suffering endlessly because they don't have an executive action team that's there every day to run air cover, 15 minutes every day. It's like going into a battle and your Air Force doesn't show up.
Very true.
It doesn't work. The organization cannot be agile. It's just, it's nice to learn how to get started by having an agile Scrum team in your IT group. But if you don't have air cover, you're going to get crushed.
Yeah, too true. I've just finished reading on the Pacific War and World War II, Jeff, and it's such a good analogy because basically wherever you got crushed then was where you didn't have air cover, and that happened on both sides of the equation throughout that war.
One of the very interesting things in my background, of course, I have many years in the military, 4 years at West Point, 11 years as a fighter pilot. But when I started working more closely with Professor Tanaka, who wrote the first paper in the Harvard Business Review in 1986 that coined the term Scrum, we took it from him. He said to me, Jeff, he says, I was in World War II when we were getting bombed. And one of my goals when I grew up was to help the Japanese to never have to suffer that again. So my whole education, PhD and everything was around understanding the military. My first job was doing analysis for defense. And so he says, it's amazing that we both have similar background.
Yeah.
But more recently, he started writing a book on the U.S. Marines. And in the United States, Scrum makers training the U.S. Marines. I had a former Marine at my house this past week for dinner that was in the daytime training 2 battalions of Marines in Massachusetts, where I live. And And Nonaka says, okay, the Marines have totally adopted Colonel John Boyd's OODA loop, the strategy that the world's greatest fighter pilot taught at all the war colleges. The Marines have really picked it up. And this observe, orient, decide, act decision loop, where you're responding quickly and changing quickly, dealing in real time with the issues. And this is really at the product owner level, right? You're deciding to take whatever you're building in a different direction in real time. He said, this is more important to Toyota today than the PDCA cycle. Now, the plan, do, check, act cycle that Edward Stemmings and others taught Toyota and other Japanese companies is built into Scrum. The whole Scrum cycle, the sprint cycle, is really the PDCA cycle. But we've laid on top of that the OODA loop, and everybody involved in agility needs to be executing that, but particularly the product owners. And Nonaka says the big issue in Japan, in the 80s and 90s, they were really competing worldwide, taking over the automobile business. But it's all been flatlined since. And he says because the innovation is not there. And so it doesn't matter how fast and efficient they are in Japan. Without the innovation, they cannot win in the market. And so the OODA loop, he says, your fighter pilot training is the key to success for Toyota today.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the link, the military link. The reason that I think it's so highly relevant is that as a fighter pilot, you have to make a decision in real time, within seconds, or you're dead. So agility is not an option because all the people that weren't agile, they're dead. They crashed. And so the only people you have left are the agile people. And it's going to get that way in industry. I mean, the changes, the disruption is, these S curves. A new product comes out, slow uptake, and then all of a sudden you get this exponential increase, and then it starts to flatten out as you get about 80% market share. It took 13 years between the time that there were all horses on the street. 13 years later, there were all cars on the street. So that S curve was 13 years. But if you look at the S curve today, how long did it take a smartphone to get 80% of the planet? We're talking 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, it was fast.
Nokia went bankrupt in 4 years. I know that. That's a data point. So in 4 years, it was game over. But then you look at the more recent S curves that are available. Okay, the tablet market, 1 year. So now we have these S curves now that are only 1 year, but now in different industries, in energy, in utility, in information, AI, even in healthcare and in food and agriculture, we have these innovation cycles that are like 1 year loops interacting with one another. Like, why is Tesla going to take over the world of utilities and electricity? Okay, it's not the solar, it's not the battery, it's the software they call auto bidder, gets on the internet and it buys and sells the electricity faster than anybody else on the planet.
Yeah.
So you have this intersection of the solar S curve and then the battery S curve and then the AI S curve. Whoa. And that is what is causing the game over events to occur. The biggest bank in Germany was in my Scrum class before COVID. We had the 6 people on their strategy team. I asked them, why are you here? You're a big bank. they're regulated. They don't have to change. They said Amazon started doing consumer loans in Germany last month. In 1 week, we lost 100% of our consumer loan market.
Wow. That's crazy.
What I want to say to all those companies out there that are asking, if they should get Agile, you're going to wake up some morning and maybe it's not Amazon. Maybe it's somebody like Uber or Airbnb, or maybe it's Tesla just took over home construction for all your electricity, heat, and all these vendors are out of business. It can happen in weeks. And so if you're not alert, it's like you're really just asleep at the switch,
Yeah.
An old railroad, asleep at the switch.
Yeah.
What happens?
And so like you say, Jeff, in the simplistic way of it, we've got to create organizations that can make decisions fast. And
Absolutely.
we've got to have organizations that can amplify the value they're creating for customers rapidly, and the speed at which they execute on it and overcome impediments.
Make the right decisions fast. And a lot of that is repurposing resources, shutting down stranded assets. I mean, I used to have this old VW car, and it kept on breaking down. I had to bring it to the shop, and then after a while, I was paying $300 or $400 a month just to kind of keep this thing running so I could drive to work. And then I looked up, okay, what's the cost of a brand new car? It was like for $400 a month, I could lease a BMW and have no maintenance for 3 years. Why am I driving around in this piece of junk when my life would be totally different in a brand new BMW for the same amount of money?
Yeah.
And this is the problem you have this is called what we call stranded asset. You have an asset that used to be worth something, but now is actually not only worthless, it's dragging you down. And that's what we have with the coal plants in Australia, and the nuclear plants, and the gasoline plants. They'll need a few of them for backup, but so the decisions need to be made to dump the stranded assets. Those are all those pet projects that don't bring you any real value.
It costs you a lot of time.
Yeah. Most companies have about 30% of their investment. If you look at their backlog, about 30% of their backlog is in projects that are not going to bring any significant value and should be terminated. But we have the management asleep at the switch, just wasting 30% of their people, 30% of their money. And they're just going to get taken out unless they wake up. That's the hard reality of today's world, right?
And especially when you say that, Jeff, when you think about how busy and hectic most people are in organizations at the moment. I don't know if it's just an Australian thing, but Australian companies just seem to be overcooking at the minute. Like everyone's just flat out. But when you think about what you just said, where typically if you stood back and looked at it, 30% of what you're doing is just pointless and no value. Well, there's instantly 30% of your time back.
Look at what Steve Jobs did when he came back into, Apple was failing. They said, let's bring Steve Jobs back into CEO. They had dozens of products. He looked at them, he said, I'm going to cancel all of them. We're only going to have 4 products. Then all that busyness went away. And they focused on the iMac, the Mac Pro, the iPod, then the iPhone. Total focus on stuff that has made them the most valuable company in the world. So that's what all these busy managers need to start thinking like Steve Jobs, to stop running around wasting their time and wasting money and wasting value.
Yeah. because each asset or each product that you have in your portfolio that you're trying to manage and process and even do R&D on, because a lot of these old assets people are still trying to do improvement on, it's
Right.
just an absolute waste of time. Hey everyone, as I mentioned in the last episode with Jeff, his team has formed the Agile Education Program and community to help organisations build agile cultures of continuous improvement and innovation. This is timely considering the uncertain times we're in. Emily and I have now set up a series of training and the community in the Asia Pacific regions and time zones. We have heard in this episode, Jeff mentioned the range of companies using Agile, from Amazon to Tesla to John Deere. Organisations in all industries are now getting skilled in Agile to amplify their focus, quality, speed of improvement and innovation for customers. The last 10 to 20 years have shown that the fastest, most flexible and innovative organisations that can produce quality are winning. Agile is the approach they are using to achieve this. We all know the ones that have been disrupted and knocked out as part of this process. There are 3 training modules you can register for. Agile Scrum Master and Product Owner Combined certifications. This is a course that trains you on how to create and lead an Agile high-performance team. Agile at Scale, Scrum at Scale, which is how to create a connected, aligned Agile organisation. And finally, Leaders Who Serve, how to transform and lead an Agile organisation. These training sessions are practical, short and sharp. They are certified by the Agile Education Program globally. They will allow you, if you want, to go on to become a trainer like me. The Enterprise Excellence community we have formed enables you to link monthly via Zoom for 2 hours, learn directly from our world's experts each month. It allows us to collaborate and support each other in achieving an excellence journey, helping our organisations take the red pill, not the blue. To get involved, go to our website, enterpriseexcellenceacademy.com, and register for a course or connect to get any additional questions answered. You will then gain 6 months of access to the practitioner community and a copy of our time optimization program to help you as an individual free up time that you can then put towards your organisation's journey. You'll also get access to the Academy's Resource Centre, which is extensive. The purpose of this training and community is to, together with our world's experts, help each other create a better future for our organisations, people and the planet. The Academy is a social enterprise, with profit going to charities focused on economic, social and environmental causes. We have a community in English and Mandarin. Be one of the first to get involved in our region. Get in quick, as there are limited numbers in each training cohort. I look forward to meeting many of you through this training and community in the future. Let's get back to the episode.
Another fascinating insight. I was brought in. I founded a company that became the first internet news company, and then they went public. They had a ton of money. They said, Jeff, we need you to come back into the company as CTO and implement Scrum. So I came back in. We started implementing Scrum. They're having trouble getting the new products out, but they had one of the reasons was they had this old product that had so many bugs that we were wasting all sorts of time fixing this old product every day. But we took a look at that and we said, most of the bugs are created by bugs we fix. Every time we fix one bug, we generate 4 more. If we don't fix any bugs, we won't have any more bugs than the bugs we've got. We're stopping all development, and everybody, half the company that was focused on this old thing is now on the new innovation, on the new product. And the customers actually complain less because they didn't have any new bugs. So that was like an eye-opener. Like, you really need to think differently, right? And stop wasting your time.
Yeah, it sounds like a good starting point in some regards, doesn't it, Jeff? I guess I love the technique of value stream mapping for this, where you start to group your product groups and do value stream mapping and actually figure out what does deliver value or not. And then there may be some quick wins to just get rid of a lot of noise.
Yeah. Well, the value stream mapping is really good because it points out, if software development is like 15% of the value stream. And they increase production. If they double production, you get about maybe a 2% improvement for the entire value stream. That's the thing people don't realize. It doesn't matter to be agile in IT if you're not agile for the whole value stream. I mean,
No, your bottleneck is where your bottleneck is. There's a bottleneck there, and it's not in development necessarily. It's simple techniques and simple things, Jeff, isn't it? And I guess that's why I've set up this podcast, because I want to get this knowledge out there just so people can consume it and know it. But there is a difference between knowing it and actually doing it.
Yeah. It takes some knowledge, some training. And we have a great training program. We teach these people. We teach everybody this stuff. But then to do it, it's kind of like a red pill, blue pill phenomenon. Like Neo had the red pill, the blue pill. If you took the blue pill, he went back to sleep. So we bring people into our training, and most of them go back. They take the blue pill, and they go back to sleep. But there's always one or two that take the red pill, and they make all the difference because they actually see and do what we're teaching.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how, particularly at Scrum Egg, how do we get feedback? When we train someone, then they go out to be a Scrum Master. How do we get feedback, 6 weeks, 3 months later, on what improvement they got out of this course? Because this is one of the big challenges. If you don't have that feedback cycle, you can't ramp that learning cycle fast enough. So that's one of the things I'm trying to sort out right now.
That'd be brilliant, Jeff. That would be a winner. That'd be massive. Jeff, what's been a recent insight you've had, mate? Although I think you've just given me one. Like, I think that insight of you looking at how do you train, but then get that loop going after the training and virtually, that's a winner. That is a real winner.
Right.
Has there been anything else come up recently, Jeff, that's been a real insight for you?
Well, the thing that I'm in every one of our classes, I'm talking to product owners and Scrum Masters, and then the conversation is getting more and more now to, number one, do you understand disruption? Do you understand S-curves? Do you understand you're paying 10 times as much for electricity as you should be paying? That means somebody's lining their pockets at your expense. Do you understand that? If you don't understand that, you're not going to do anything. Now, once you understand that, then you need to look at why that's happening. And when you talk to people about why it's happening, you're going to hear a lot of nonsense. You're going to have to cut through the BS and get some real data. And then based on that real data, you're going to have to act. And then I'm trying to show people what happens when you do that. And I had a chart up earlier today I was talking about. Let me just take an example because it gets really personal. I don't know if I can put my hands on this right away, but I'll try. A lot of people, they're just getting by. They're working 2 jobs. They're having, so they need to rethink what they're doing and why they're doing it. And even if you have only a little bit of money, you need to go through the same process. And I'm going to try to pull up, I don't know if I can find a slide. So I did this a couple of years ago. I looked at my investment portfolio, and there was only a little money in it. I'd save a little money all the years I've been doing.
There you go, Jeff.
That looks like it did it, yeah. Okay, so if I can get the right picture here.
It's taking that time to reflect, and
Okay, can you see that chart?
I can, Jeff. Yeah.
Okay, so back in 2019, I had a little bit of money in the U.S. We have what they call 401ks. These are your investments, like a pension fund. Maybe they have in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a little money in my pension fund, and it's not increasing, or not very much. And I'm saying, we got all these financial guys sitting on this pension fund, and it's not increasing. But they were all getting paid to just sit on it.
Yeah.
Why is that? So then I started to really think about the disruption, the S-curves. And I've said, these investment pension fund managers, they don't understand these, and they're feeding me a bunch of nonsense, and I'm going to retire poor. So I'm going to have a different backlog for investment. I'm going to repurpose all my investment into forces that are changing the shape of industry, powerful forces that are, the electrification of the planet and climate change, the change in the financial system driven by cryptocurrencies, which turned out to be the two major things. And now, today, that little pension fund is worth $70 million.
Yeah.
I had to create 2 new companies. I had to take most of this money, give it away, and put it in a trust. Now, college, one of my family members, just a college student, he says, I got $1,000. What should I do with it? I said, don't put it in a pension fund. Don't put it in a bank. Put it in the forces that are reshaping the planet.
Yeah.
He decided it was going to be Tesla because he really likes Teslas. He comes back to me a year later. He says, Jeff, now I got $2,000, $2,000. My money doubled in a year. What should I do now? I said, well, you're winning with Tesla. Probably should keep it there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he has now, but when he started, Tesla was probably at 100, and right now it's 1,200, right?
Yeah, it's been massive.
So even if you just have a little bit of money, even if all you have is $100 to buy a new pair of sneakers, wait on the sneakers and put it into the forces that are reshaping the planet.
Yeah.
And let it sit there for a couple of years, and you'll wind up with thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's neat. And it's easy.
So that's my message. You've got to be a good product for yourself.
True, too true. That is using that product owner thinking, isn't it? And that scale up to the chief product owner.
Yeah, because a lot of people think, well, okay, this is all business, this is all company. No, it's personal. It's you.
Yeah.
You need to be a product owner of yourself.
Yeah, that's such great advice, Jeff. Such great advice. Jeff, I really appreciate the time and knowledge. I know how precious your time is. So thank you so much for recording with us and sharing this knowledge for our listeners around the world. And mate, thanks for helping us create a better future. Jeff, how can people reach out to Scrum Inc. and connect if they want to learn more?
Well, you can go to scruminc.com. And we have all our courseware. We have lots of free content, lots of info, webinars, all kinds of stuff. We also have our Agile education program. Maybe I could give you the the URL for that, and that will tap you into all the trainers worldwide, including you, of course.
Yes.
on that site. And that'll be a good place for Australia, is to actually look for training and coaching and consulting.
Yeah, we've got Jason Cameron and myself now in Australia, which is great. So it's an amazing program. So Jeff, thank you.
One of our German, just as a closing comment, one of our German trainers joined Accenture, and he put up a couple of Scrum and Scale programs or classes. He sent me a note today. He said, Jeff, they sold out in 30 minutes.
Wow. It's mega, isn't it?
I thought, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So if there are any Agile people out there, you really should look at Scrum at Scale. If you want to become a trainer, the growth is really expanding. And you got somebody right in Australia that knows how to do all this. So
yeah. Thanks, Jeff. And I feel really blessed to be part of it and get involved in something that's helping so many organizations, so many people, and also society and the planet on the flip side at the same time, like we've spoken about. But Jeff, thank you, mate. Thanks for everything you've done, and thanks for everything you continue to do, mate. Really appreciate it.
Right.
Catch you, mate.
See you later.
Bye. What a great episode. Thanks again, Jeff. Remember, we are now bringing to the Asia Pacific region the opportunity for you to get trained and certified by Jeff's Agile education program and connect to the associated community. Together, we will help our own organisation and others truly transform to create a culture of continuous improvement and innovation. We will do this by working directly with our world's experts like Jeff and also supporting each other. We have the training and a community in English and Mandarin. Anyone registering for courses automatically gets 6 months free entry to the community and also resource library. You also get access to our time optimization program to help you break out of the whirlwind, gain back time, and enable you to focus on what is most important. This is critical in first of all freeing you up to then more effectively lead your excellence journey. These additional value offerings more than cover the cost of a course. We have also optimized the community approach to minimize time impact on members. The community runs for 2 hours each month via Zoom. The first hour is training and Q&A on a topic with one of our world's leading experts. The second hour enables us to collaborate and help each other on our excellence journey, help each other sustain focus, overcome challenges, and move forward. You will also be able to progress forward and become an Agile education program trainer in the future and help others more broadly create a better future if this is of interest to you. The Enterprise Excellence Academy and podcast is a social enterprise. Profits go to charities that help socially, economically, or environmentally create a better future for our world. There are limited numbers with each training cohort. If you're interested, please connect or register quickly on our website, enterpriseexcellenceacademy.com. I look forward to meeting many of you and growing together to create a better future. There were 3 key takeaways for me from this episode. Number 1, analyze what value you or are you not creating. Jeff mentioned that in most companies, 30% of what they are creating delivers no value to customers at all. They could stop doing it today. Within the organizations I visit, more people are flat out with not enough time in the day. This is a fast way to bring back focus on time. Jeff's story of what Steve Jobs did, focusing the company on the right products and removing others when he came back to Apple as CEO, was a great one. The second key takeaway for me was increased decision speed. When Jeff mentioned that decision speed is a major contributor to organisation success, I gained an insight. When you're a small startup organisation, decision speed is extremely fast. As you grow, many aspects of bureaucracy, poor systems and culture creep in that slows decision-making speed down. Scrum at Scale is a way to retain decision-making speed and value and focus as you scale and become larger. The third key takeaway for me was increased value and increased speed. There is not much more to achieving success in business than this. If you're increasing the value delivered to customers and you do it faster and faster, you're going to be in a good position. The key is having the systems and culture within your organisation to achieve this. The 2 loops of the Scrum Scale model that Jeff spoke about help organizations achieve this. What is your value loop to enable absolute focus on value creation and innovation? What is your speed or execution loop that enables you to be able to deliver faster and faster, remove impediments and challenges, and get better and better? It is important to note that the whole organization needs to be connected into this from a top-down, bottom-up approach. Scrum at Scale enables this. Thanks again for your time and knowledge, Jeff. Thanks for helping us create a better future. Bye for now.